Having a deeper knowledge of Wizarding World lore should make Hogwarts Legacy all the more interesting to lose yourself in. So in today's video, we're going to get a little eerie and talk about a few of the ghosts that haunt the hallways of Hogwarts. But what exactly are ghosts in the Wizarding World? Ghosts are the imprint of the soul of a once living witch or wizard. They are fleshless, flying spirits that were either afraid of death or had some extraordinarily strong connection to the locations that they haunt. Ghosts don't have much influence over the physical world, but they were visible and they appear as grayish silver apparitions of their former living selves. They can pass through solid objects, including people, and when in the immediate vicinity of a ghost, the temperature will drop, giving an ice-chilling effect. Ghosts know nothing about the afterlife, and many of them do go on to regret becoming ghosts instead of moving on. If we're lucky in Hogwarts Legacy, we may even experience a Death Day party, which is a celebration thrown by ghosts to commemorate the anniversary of their death. The first ghost I'll talk about is likely the most recognizable ghost from the Harry Potter franchise, and that is nearly headless Nick, formerly known as Sir Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington. Sir Nicholas was a wizard noble who lived somewhere in the British Isles during the 15th century. We've seen a few gameplay clips confirming to us that Nick will be an interactable NPC in Hogwarts Legacy. Nicholas actually attended Hogwarts as a child. He was sorted into House Gryffindor. In his adult life, however, he heavily involved himself in Muggle affairs, and he was actually knighted and was a courtier of King Henry VII's royal court. On an autumn evening in 1492, Lady Grieve, a lady-in-waiting to Henry's court who had crooked teeth, met Nicholas in a park, and he attempted through the use of magic to straighten her teeth. But unfortunately, charms were not Nicholas's area of expertise, and the charm would backfire and cause Lady Grieve to instead grow a grotesque tusk. Before Sir Nicholas knew of the punishment that he would face, his wand was taken from him, and he was then imprisoned and ultimately sentenced to death. Nicholas was a gibbering wreck when he was brought to the execution site, and well, nothing could save him from the horror that was about to occur. Due to a blunt axe, it would take the executioner 45 hacks to kill Sir Nicholas, and even then his head was only partially severed. Nicholas greatly feared true death though, and he chose to remain on the mortal plane and linger on as a ghost. He would end up returning to Hogwarts and becoming the resident ghost of House Gryffindor. During Harry Potter's time at Hogwarts in the 1990s, Nick was known to be a humorous, kind, and friendly ghost that was always willing to lend a hand to Gryffindors in need. He remains very proud of his heritage despite what happened to him, but he prefers to be called Sir Nicholas rather than nearly headless Nick. The Bloody Baron was a wizard who attended Hogwarts in the 11th century, and he was sorted into House Slytherin. His death, however, was of his own doing. It's a rather sorrowful story that involves another ghost that we will meet within the castle walls. During the Baron's time at Hogwarts, he would fall in love with Helena Ravenclaw, who was the daughter of one of the founding members of the school itself, Rowena Ravenclaw. Unfortunately, this love was one-sided, as Helena would always reject the Baron's advances. Later on in life, Helena, who was envious of her mother's cleverness and importance, would end up stealing a diadem from her mother, and this diadem had the powerful ability to increase the wearer's intelligence. Helena's mother, Rowena, would then fall fatally ill, possibly from the betrayal and abandonment from her daughter. But before she died, she ordered the Baron to go find Helena, as she wanted to see her daughter one last time. The Baron would eventually find her in a forest, and attempt to compel her to return with him, but she refused. In a fit of horrifying rage, the Baron stabbed Helena to death, and then proceeded to take his own life with that very same weapon. Both the Baron and Helena would choose to stay in the mortal realm and live on as ghosts, and like nearly headless Nick, they both returned to Hogwarts and became house ghosts for their respective houses. The Bloody Baron for Slytherin, and Helena, who would then be known as the Grey Lady, for of course House Ravenclaw. We have not yet seen the Baron in any gameplay, but we did get a sneak peek of the Grey Lady and some footage captured by the collecting wizard. Helena tended to be an evasive ghost, as she is very reserved but also somewhat serene. As reserved as Helena was, though, a century after Hogwarts Legacy takes place, she was unable to resist the charm of Tom Riddle, and she revealed the location of her mother's diadem to him, and this diadem would ultimately become one of Lord Voldemort's Horcruxes. When we do inevitably encounter the Bloody Baron, he will likely be wearing robes stained with blood. He may even be carrying heavy chains as a final act of penance for his murderous actions. Serene is not quite the word to describe this ghost, though, as the Bloody Baron was feared by most, and most did not enjoy to be in his presence, including other ghosts, although nearly Headless Nick did seem to be one of the few ghosts who had a cordial relationship with him. And this leaves one last house ghost, and that is the Fat Friar, who we did get to see a glimpse of in the Hufflepuff common room. The Fat Friar was a wizard who attended Hogwarts in the late 10th century, and he was sorted into House Hufflepuff. Before we get into it more, though, if you are enjoying this video, I do appreciate you considering subscribing to the channel, as I will be doing plenty of more lore videos and of course just general Hogwarts Legacy content. The Fat Friar was actually taught by Helga Hufflepuff herself, and later on in life he would end up joining the clergy as part of a mendicant religious order, which means a life begging in the name of charity. The Fat Friar's kindness, however, would end up being his undoing, as he was ultimately executed because senior churchmen, which were of course muggles, grew suspicious of his ability to cure the pox by merely poking peasants with a stick. He also apparently had a habit of pulling rabbits out of the communion cup. Like with the other ghosts, he would of course choose to remain in the mortal realm and return to Hogwarts, where he became the house ghost of Hufflepuff. Meeting the Fat Friar will not be nearly as intimidating as meeting the Bloody Baron, though, as he seems to have retained his kind and joyful demeanor, and he tends to eagerly welcome new students to the school and offer assistance when needed. So those are the 4 house ghosts that you can expect to encounter and also likely interact with in Hogwarts Legacy. But it's not just house ghosts that haunt the halls of Hogwarts. Although this certain poltergeist did not make an appearance in the Harry Potter films, he will be in Hogwarts Legacy, and this is, of course, Peeves, the poltergeist of mischief and chaos. Peeves has been at Hogwarts since its founding, and actually is said to have come with the building itself. Peeves is not a ghost in the traditional sense, though. He is an indestructible non-being of chaos. He was never a human being like the house ghosts, but has always existed as a poltergeist. Unlike his ghostly colleagues, Peeves had a physical form and was therefore able to interact with the physical world, as you can see him right here bothering a student in some of the gameplay footage. But he was also capable of flight and intangibility and could turn invisible. Unlike ghosts, Peeves could also be affected by magic. Although his chaotic spirit took great pride in causing disorder and pranking students, he was still loyal and devoted to Hogwarts, and during the times of Harry Potter, he not only caused trouble to the hated Dolores Umbridge, but he also helped defend the school in the battle for Hogwarts, and even showed signs of joy when Voldemort was defeated. Peeves should be an interesting poltergeist to encounter. Just watch yourself when he's around, because you may find yourself having tarantulas dumped on your head. Now there's one more ghost that I'll talk about in this video, and hopefully it's not boring. Some of you will already know why I use that word, and that is Cuthbert Bins. Those of you that are wondering about Moaning Myrtle, she didn't attend the school until the 20th century, so she will not be a part of this game. Now Cuthbert Bins, or should I say Professor Bins, will be a unique ghost in that he's actually our history of magic teacher. He had a reputation for being so boring that students would often fall asleep, and he seemed to be unaware of just how boring his methods of teaching were. The story of his death is also quite boring, as he died at a very old age when he fell asleep in the staff room of the school. He awoke the next day as a ghost and continued to teach as if nothing had changed. Despite his boring nature and reputation, he may play an important role in Hogwarts Legacy, as he's very familiar with the subject of the Goblin Rebellions, and he also knows a bit more about ancient magic than your average witch or wizard. Professor Bins even teaches 6-year History of Magic students about the history of ancient runes. And that'll be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.